I go to the show where you eat the banana out the
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and there is a lawsuit that was filed against Lizzo that claims she was weight shaming her dancers and also pressuring them to do things at a strip club. Now, if you would have asked me a few years ago, do I think Lizzo would have done this? I would have said I don't think she'd ever do it publicly, but I think she is hiding something. No one that acts the way that Lizzo does, so body positive, everything like that, without hiding a little something in their back, because they're hiding something. It's very clear to me that there's always a reason someone is doing that. They're very always clearly trying to hide something that they don't want you to know about. And it appears that what Lizzo didn't want people to know about is coming into the public eye. Now let's dig a little bit into the article. Now I'm going to start with some of the lighter accusations and then we'll go from there. Plaintiffs were aghast with how little regard Lizzo showed for the bodily autonomy of her employees and those around her, especially in the presence of many people whom she employed. The stunning nature of how Lizzo and her management team treated their performers seems to go against everything Lizzo stands for publicly, while privately she weight shames her dancers and demeans them in ways that are not only illegal but absolutely demoralizing. End quote. So now these two accusations are some of the lighter ones. So this is basically the lightest thing in the lawsuit, saying that she says all these things about body positivity and being who you are, all this, but behind the scenes, she's nothing like that. That's essentially what this lawsuit says, and I'm going to spoil this for a lot of you. There are a lot of people, a lot of celebrities, some of you might remember what happened to Ellen, that are exactly like this. They give up this whole persona while they're in the public eye because that's what they want you to believe. Two of the girls that are involved in this lawsuit, both Davis and Williams, were both on the show that Lizzo had on Amazon Prime, Watch Out for the Big Girls. It was a dance competition. I never watched it, but anyone who did, leave your comments down below. But according to that, they had some pretty serious challenges on this, and one of them was an excruciating 12-hour rehearsal where one of the girls ended up, I actually don't have that quote right on me, I'll actually find it for the video, but one of the girls actually ended up wetting her own pants, and the replacement that the staff got for her was a see-through, basically lingerie that she was forced to wear for the rest of the practice that you could very clearly see through. That is not a very good look for Lizzo. The more and more you look into this lawsuit, it doesn't matter if there are no criminal charges, especially in this type of circumstance, there probably won't be any, but the fact that this exists, it damages her reputation. And for her, that could end up with her losing millions and millions of dollars. And you know she definitely wants to protect that no matter what. Now we get to the most serious part of the lawsuit. Now this involves an incident at an Amsterdam nightclub that happened earlier this year. And the thing you need to understand about this is an after show. This is a party after the show where they performed. And these parties are never mandatory, but in show business, it benefits you to go to these parties. So even though they're not mandatory, it will always benefit your career to go to these parties. So there are a lot of people that don't ever want to go to these parties, and you can actually talk to a lot of people in Hollywood that don't want to. Well, I mean, you can't talk to those people, but there are people that do. And one of those people that is like that was Frankie Muniz. He was never into the whole LA party scene. And there are a lot of Hollywood actors that are exactly like that. They're not into the whole Hollywood party scene. But from this incident, you can very clearly tell Lizzo really, really, really loves that idea of if you're not performing, you're partying. She really, really likes that idea. So at this nightclub, quote, she began inviting cast members to take turns touching the nude performers, catching launched from the performers, and eating bananas protruding from the performers. The suit says Lizzo allegedly pressured Davis to touch the nude breasts of one performer and began goading her on when she refused. When Davis eventually acquiesced, the group burst into laughter. The suit claims Lizzo then allegedly pressured a member of her security staff to get on stage and yelled, "Take it off," end quote. Now, these accusations are probably some of the worst ones for her, next to the 12-hour dancing and the weight shaming, which is the entire lawsuit, because this lawsuit basically destroys the public image that she's built for herself. The image of body positivity, you're perfect no matter what. All of this destroys that entire ideology that she's built up, the image that she's built for herself. And this actually could, once again, end up destroying her entire image. And this is one of those situations where I feel like I need to tell people, you do not know these people. You do not know what is going through their head. You do not know what they are going to do next. You do not know them on a personal level. That is the biggest thing that you need to understand. You do not know them. But I wanted to see what Twitter was saying about this right after it was said. So I went on there, I found a couple of tweets. The first one is this one. The Lizzo situation reminds me of all the threads discussing how she was everything that people could look for in an unproblematic artist to stan. What a great moment to remind y'all that you do not know these people. Nobody is this squeaky clean icon of virtue you think they are. That's true, 100%. No one is who they say they are. Everyone has something to hide, no matter how much they tell you, oh no, this is who I've always been. Everyone is trying to hide something. This is another one. I cannot vocalize how extremely disheartening these allegations about Lizzo are, and one of the really sad parts is that many people will not see the situation as something serious for the affected victims speaking out, but will be celebrating the downfall of Lizzo, end quote. That's one of the biggest things. We don't need to worry about Lizzo. This is more about the women involved with the lawsuit than it is about Lizzo. If you're gonna ask me, Lizzo's not gonna take this to court. She's really gonna try to settle. Next, we have Lizzo's former creative director, who is coming along with the former dancers and supporting their lawsuit against Lizzo, claiming that this is the type of interactions that they had with her while they were working with her. This makes her look even worse because this is another former employee backing up these accusations. This is one of the things that I've seen a lot of people not talk about, because there's a few other former employees that used to work for Lizzo that are coming out and basically saying, yeah, no, this is the same type of idea and the same type of things that happened to me whenever I was working with her. So now there's one other person involved in this lawsuit other than Lizzo and her company, and that is basically the dance coach. And the dance coach seems to really love Christianity.
Glory to God.
In that video, she says God, I don't know how many times, but one of the accusations that were claimed against her is that not only would she come in and start pressuring everyone about their religious beliefs, but she would also ask them questions about whether or not they are a virgin, and then she would berate them on that. And then also she would express her sexual fantasies to the dancers, which is not a normal thing to do in a work environment. So I'm just gonna say this woman probably has some big problems in her life that she doesn't want to address, and that is probably why she was doing this to these girls. She was given some form of power over them, so therefore she took advantage of them and pushed her religious beliefs, pushed her sexual fantasies, etc. on these girls, because she strikes me as someone who's fucking crazy. And believe me, a lot of these religious, insane people, I know because there's quite a few of them that I grew up around, and she strikes me as one of those types of people. Now, Lizzo actually has made a statement about this now, and let's take a look at it. These last few days have been gut-wrenchingly difficult and overwhelmingly disappointing. My work ethic, morals, respectfulness have been questioned. My character has been criticized. Usually I choose not to respond to false allegations, but these are unbelievable as they sound and too outrageous to not be addressed. These sensationalized stories are coming from former employees who have already publicly admitted that they were told their behavior on tour was inappropriate and unprofessional, end quote. So she's basically saying that these women are just filing this lawsuit because they're upset that they got fired, even though they publicly admitted that they made all of these mistakes and lost this job because they just just weren't good enough to keep it. That's essentially what she's saying. She's also gone out of the way to claim that she's not the villain. Quote, "I'm not to be looked at as a victim, but I also know that I am not the villain that people and the media have portrayed me to be these past few days. I am very open with my sexuality and expressing myself, but I cannot allow people to use that openness to make me out to be something that I am not. There is nothing that I would take more seriously than the respect we deserve as women in the world. I know what it feels like to be body shamed on a daily basis and would absolutely never criticize or terminate an employee because of their weight." End quote. This is also the same quote where she talks about how nice and how respectful, all this other stuff. Lizzo, this doesn't help you. This really does not help you. As a matter of fact, if you were to ask me, this actually makes you look worse, especially considering there have been other things that have come out in the past few days that make you look really, really bad. So back in 2019, there is a filmmaker named Sophia Nali Allison who was going to make a documentary about Lizzo and all of the things that she's done over the past few years. But she suddenly just quit after following the singer for 2 weeks. And people were wondering why she quit. And the reason she quit is she said that Lizzo was arrogant, unkind, and cruel. And at the time, people just looked at her like she was crazy. She had no idea what she was talking about. Lizzo is none of those things. You're just some random documentary filmmaker who was just looking for a payday. Well, this random documentary filmmaker has won an Oscar before this documentary. So she was not a nobody whenever she went to Lizzo. She was very clearly a somebody, and Lizzo wanted a somebody to make a documentary about her. And whenever Sophia walked away, Lizzo didn't hire someone to replace her because I think maybe Sophia was telling the truth. Maybe a lot of the stuff that's come out in the past few days really does back Sophia more than it backs Lizzo. And if you don't believe me, well, let's get to this radio interview that she did in 2019.
But I'm trying to go to the show where you eat the banana out the Which one is that?
So even back in 2019, she was talking about eating bananas out of, inappropriate places. But one of the other things that's come into recognition in the past few days is lyrics to Lizzo's 2021 song Rumors that are starting to make people look at this lawsuit a little bit differently. So the lyrics to the song read directly, quote, "Had to cut some hoes loose, yeah. NDA, no loose lips. Now term them hoes trying to run, sue me. Bitch, I don't give two shits. All the rumors are true, yeah." End quote. You see, this makes you look even worse, Lizzo. This makes it really point out the fact that you are very, 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 very clearly trying to hide shit. Otherwise, you wouldn't talk about forcing people to sign NDAs, which, if you had paid attention in the past few years, the legal ramifications of NDAs have changed quite a bit. For instance, you can't get people to sign NDAs for sexual assault anymore in any sort of way, or sexual harassment. There have also been other laws changed, so NDAs don't protect you as much as you think they do now, as they did back in, let's say, the 80s. So once again, these lyrics are really, really getting people to look at Lizzo a bit more critically, as you should be doing. So after Lizzo denied all of these claims, claiming that this is total BS, this isn't true at all, and Lizzo's lawyer came out and said the same thing, the company representing the dancers, West Coast Employment, the lawyer representing them, Nima Ramini, said, quote, "Given Lizzo is denying that any of this happened, let's take it to trial. More witnesses are coming forward every day collaborating the plaintiff's allegations, so we're looking forward to facing Lizzo and her team in court." End quote. I have a sad thing to tell West Coast Employment lawyers and Nima Ramini. Lizzo and her team is not going to take this to court. What they're going to do is they're going to keep trying to settle this. They do not want this to go to court. Even if they win, they just don't want the bad publicity that will come with it. That is all they care about. The public image of Lizzo. That's it. This could very well damage her public image. They don't want that. They will try to settle. And yes, Naima Ramini is very true. More witnesses, just like I showed you, every day that this is going on, you see more and more former employees come out and say, yeah, no, this is how Lizzo actually is behind the scenes. And it makes her look worse every day that this continues to drag on. I wouldn't be surprised to see this lawsuit settled just for some money, because Lizzo doesn't want this to actually go to trial, neither does her team. That's my belief on this. If you have a different thought or opinion on this, or you have something that you would like to add of something that I may have missed, I would really like it if you left it in the comments section down below. I would also like it if you liked the video and subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get to 1,500 subscribers. We're at 1.2 thousand, so please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.
I say the best way is you're supposed to dunk it. So I'm just gonna dunk it for a little bit. So fucking crazy. I can't believe you're making me do this. Oh, I don't know.
Why the fuck you lying?